Our top story, well, voting for the two crucial state polls has ended today. Rajasthan and Telangana voted in what is seen as a big test for the political parties as they gear up for the national elections. The result will be out on Tuesday. In Rajasthan, Vasundhara Raje is fighting anti-incumbency to stay in power against the Congress, whose leadership has been split between Sachin Pilot and Ashok Gehlot, and this could be the Congress's biggest troublemaker in these crucial elections. Now, in Telangana, the Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao is facing the Congress and N. Chandrababu Naidu, political rivals who have come together for the first time. A victory for the alliance will boost the opposition ahead of the national elections. The counting of votes will take place on December 11th, along with that of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Mizoram. In Rajasthan, there has been 72.17% voter turnout till 5 p.m. That was the end of the voting. Vasundhara Raje has been challenged by Manvinder Singh, the son of senior BJP leader Jaswant Singh, in Jhalapatan, and the constituency she has represented since 2003. Manvinder Singh switched to the Congress just before the elections. And Tonk, which is a sizable Muslim population area, is keenly watched as well between Sachin Pilot of the Congress and the Transport Minister of the BJP, Yunus Khan, the BJP's only Muslim face here. In Telangana, the caretaker Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao advanced the elections by 8 months, but will it really work in his advantage? So, these are the big questions ahead of the crucial elections, and the voting has already taken place. In Rajasthan, 4.75 crore people cast their vote and over 2,000 candidates are in the fray. And the polling will determine whether the BJP bucks the anti-incumbency and an increasingly aggressive opposition to return to power. And in Telangana, meanwhile, 2.8 crore voters, about 1 lakh police personnel, including 25,000 central paramilitary forces and 20,000 from other states, are on poll duty in the state. And Kartikeya Sharma, our political editor, is now joining us for more on the bigger picture here for these state elections. And Kartikeya, thanks for talking to us this evening. Now, what do you think this is? How will it change the course of the narrative both for the Prime Minister and Rahul Gandhi ahead of those crucial general elections? These are not just state elections that are being watched because of the high-stake battle for those big leaders in the states, but also a lot will depend on the future of both Rahul Gandhi and Prime Minister.
See, if it's a fractured result, I would say, because 5 states are in poll, then I don't think it's going to have a very direct impact on the Lok Sabha elections. But if Bharatiya Janata Party does well in the bigger states like Madhya Pradesh, retains them, then it is going to reinforce the narrative of Narendra Modi as a very powerful campaigner who can deliver votes to Bharatiya Janata Party. Which means that Bharatiya Janata Party will go to Lok Sabha polls as a winner. They will be perceived by electorate as a strong party. Now, if Congress is able to wrest 2 states or 3 states, the bigger states in Heartland, then the challenger Rahul Gandhi's credential gets established, if that happens. And then Rahul Gandhi will go to the Lok Sabha election as a challenger to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. You know, these are 2 extreme, I would say, positions. But Indian elections are pretty complex. So sometimes what you think is a semi-final does not turn out to be a semi-final. In 2003, these states were wrested by Bharatiya Janata Party and the elections were preponed in 2004. From October they went to May, and Atal Bihari Vajpayee could not come back to power under Shining India campaign. Right. So it happens. But Narendra Modi bucked the trend in 2013. 10 years down the line, he won all the 3 states barring Delhi and became the Prime Minister.
Well, social media platforms have recently come under fire for the spread of fake news. Now, ahead of the 2019 elections, the Indian government is exercising extra caution. The Indian government officials met with senior WhatsApp executives to ask the messaging app to start tracing the origins of misinformation spread through its messaging platform. WhatsApp has been working to curb the circulation of what Information Technology Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad termed as sinister content in India. A senior official says that WhatsApp is non-committal on allowing traceability of messages, but the Indian government is forcing this issue. WhatsApp maintains that building traceability into its messaging services would undermine its private nature and end-to-end encryption, creating the potential for misuse. WhatsApp is not willing to weaken the privacy protection it provides. And remember, India is WhatsApp's biggest market with over 220 million users. Up to 40 people have died, however, in India so far in 2018 due to the spread of misinformation through social media platforms. Well, in other news now, UN-sponsored peace talks between the Yemeni government and the Houthi rebels are underway in Sweden. This is the first step to resume the political process which was seized or stopped in 2016. The UN Special Envoy to Yemen, Martin Griffiths, is coordinating the talks between the Houthi rebels and the Saudi-backed Yemen government. Griffiths says serious progress towards peace can be made in Yemen. He is hopeful that the meeting would help find specific solutions to problems and reduce suffering in the war-ravaged country. Now, remember, the 4-year war has caused the world's worst humanitarian crisis in recent times. Thousands of people have died in fighting and nearly 14 million have been pushed to the brink of starvation. Though cautious about the outcome, people in Yemen are hopeful that the negotiations would end the conflict.
نحن الشعب اليمني وصلنا لمرحلة يعني على حافة المجاعة، يعني فوق 22 مليون شخص يمني في حالة مجاعة. فلا نريد إطالة الحروب، لا نريد إفشال هذه المحادثات.
نحن متفائلين في المفاوضات الجارية في السويد. طبعا 4 سنوات من العدوان والشعب صابر، وإن شاء الله تكون هذه المفاوضات مفاوضات ناجحة. أمل الشعب في الفريق المكون للحوار، والجميع منتظرين نتائج طيبة بإذن الله.
And well, Daniele Pagani, our West Asia Bureau Chief, is now joining us to talk a little bit more about this. And Daniele, well, it could be called a rare moment of agreement if both sides reach a ceasefire for the larger good of millions of people simply dying of starvation. What can we expect from the Sweden talks?
Well, we can say that absolutely the premises are good and the framework seems very positive. There is a confidence-building approach. How to build this confidence? Well, first of all, the large swaps of prisoners on both sides recently happened. Then some Houthi rebels were allowed by the Saudi and United Arab Emirates coalition to travel to Oman in order to get treated in the country's hospitals. Also, the Houthi rebels said that they are ready to talk about leaving the port of Hodeida, which is the most important port in Yemen, under the control of the United Nations. Should the United Nations be capable of guaranteeing that the coalition does not invade Hodeida after that? So premises are good. There is a large possibility, a very clear possibility that there will be a ceasefire, a long-standing ceasefire. But the problem is that the larger picture is not being addressed. What I mean when I say so, the government backed by the United Arab Emirates and the government of Saudi Arabia said very clearly that they do not intend to leave territories under control of the Houthi rebels, So there is no negotiation of that. The Houthi rebels must surrender. This is the version of the government. And of course the Houthi rebels completely refuse this kind of version. So that's the real bone of contention. But as of now, as the framework is proceeding, there is a very positive atmosphere, and it is very much possible that a long-standing ceasefire will come out of this negotiation. And this is good news for the people of Yemen. As you said, they are really on the brink of starvation.
And Alexis Paulin, founder Le Monde Modern, is now joining us live from Paris. And Alexis, thanks very much for talking to us this evening. Do you feel that the French president misjudged the scale of the protest completely and could have done something differently here?
Surely the government should have answered the protester way before it escalated so far. What we've seen last weekend is still there, and the shops are trying to protect themselves for tomorrow. because the fear is that the riots will be fierce in Paris. What the people were expected is a strong signal from Emmanuel Macron and his government to scrap the tax, but also to move on to more fair tax justice. Because at the beginning of his mandate, Emmanuel Macron suppressed the tax on the richest, the tax sur les ressources. And right now, people are very angry by what has been the answer. And now we have seen in France riots from the schools, from students joining the Yellow Vests in protest about all the policy of the government, which is really about maybe more inequalities. And in the long run, people don't see where is a better life or a progress for them in France.
Right. And Alexis, why are people still protesting despite the rollback by the government? There is a massive protest that is planned for tomorrow. And does France's cancellation of the tax increase amid these protests signal that the perils and the political headwinds in a certain way that the governments worldwide face when they try to wean their citizens away from fossil fuels? We know that the French president is very keen on, climate change talks going ahead, and also, of course, cleaner energy.
Yeah, well, I think people are protesting because the answer has been too little, too late. And now they're asking for a government change, they're asking for a policy change, and they want to see more tax justice, and they want to be a clear agenda and the ecological transition. Because the problem with the old tax, and it was designed first, that was the money was supposed to be for the state budget, but it was not for ecological transition projects. So that's why people are still in the streets. They're asking for a fair tax for everyone, that the big pay big and the small pay small.